Okay, YouTube, JL Chambers 82 here, and again, I'm still packing stuff up, but one by one, I wanted to kind of go over some systems that I kind of left out in other episodes. So, anyway, today I'm gonna, as you can see, it's the Sega Dreamcast. I want to take a quick look at that and just tell you the history that I know about the system. I have to be honest, I don't know a lot about this system. I was getting out of video games when this came out. This came out in America, in North America. I believe it was released in 1998. It was supposed to come out in '99, around the same time as the PS2, but Sega decided to go ahead and just release it early, and that was going to be, their saving grace. They put out this new next generation system, and it did sell very well. I know that because I had actually pre-bought it. I put some money down at a local electronics boutique at the time, and they in fact sold my pre-sale somehow, which was very odd. But I didn't really have the money to buy it at the time anyway, and I really didn't care. So it kind of worked out. So fast forward, years later, almost a decade, and yeah, here I am with one. I bought this maybe 8 or 9 months ago, brand new in the box off eBay. And that's the cool thing about this system, that if you're just getting into it and want to collect it, they're not rare. So there are plenty of these out there still, like mint in box, because they really did push a lot of these. They anticipated a lot of sales, and it was discontinued in North America sometime, it died pretty early here, like 2001 or 2002, something like that. But I do know that they still make homebrew games for this, and then there's certain websites where you can go and buy brand new Dreamcast. I don't know if they're being re-released or if it's old stockpiles they bought, but it's pretty crazy. I mean, people still really there's a big community devoted to this system. And after I got it, I really have to say that this has quickly become one of my favorite systems, and I really feel like an ass for not supporting it back in the day, because this thing right here is the I mentioned. And some text on my 3DO, system view, but that was kind of a grandfather. But this thing right here, this machine, really, started modern gaming as far as I'm concerned. So let's take a look at it. Anyway, it's a top loader. System itself is not heavy. It does have the what side is it on? Yeah, right there. Came with a 56K modem, which again, was unheard of at the time. 56K modems were more or less the standard on PCs and whatnot, but no game console had one. Not especially to come right out of the box. It wasn't anything you had to buy later or anything. It was ready to go. It was ready to be an online game system, which was really cool. And it had the 4 control ports, which was pretty much standard by that time. N64 really kind of paved the way for that. I think made it a necessity. People wanted to play the first-person shooters. Everyone was waiting for the next Bond or Perfect Dark. So yeah, they had to have those. And some of the Capcom games I know really utilized that. So I know Power Stone and everything really utilized the 4-player. But I have to say that the system looks cool, and it's still if this was released now, I would think minus the control ports, that this was a modern system. I think it still looks very, very modern, and that's really, really saying a lot, considering that it's a decade old or older than that now. But it is kind of plasticky. I'd have to say let's see, that's the power switch, and that's the open. But it's it's real simple, and the thing about this is these systems were built to last back then. They worked out all the bugs on them, so I don't remember seeing a lot of angry people posting up web responses, saying that my goddamn Dreamcast, it's not working. No, it just didn't happen. These things worked, and this one works fine. I've only played it a handful of times, but yeah, let's see if we can zoom in on that Windows CE logo there. This thing had a lot of developers for it. I know there was a guy with IBM, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know I read this somewhere that someone with NEC worked on a prototype with it or whatever. So there's some NEC technology, they weren't continuing to make systems after the PCFX, and this kind of in a way is the spiritual sequel, kind of like the Nuon, and the Jaguar had similar software titles and everything in the making. I not necessarily they weren't the same companies or anything, but it's just kind of odd that the same people worked so directly with the projects. So and with the Atari Jaguar and the Nuon technology, I'm basically talking about the software in that case. But it's just kind of crazy, that you see these systems these companies that have nothing to do with each other, and like very similar titles or games. This thing was going to have it has advanced 2D capabilities like the Saturn at the time too, and it plays the 2D games that I played on it. Just they look amazing. Street Fighter 3 is just quickly become one of my favorite games on it. So Phantasy Star Online, I plugged that in, and yeah, the online is dead, but I never played that RPG. I never played it on Nintendo GameCube, and I'm just like, wow, I can only imagine what that was like opening it back in the day, because it's just amazing. Like, so fluid, the colors are so bright. The games that were arcade games for this look just fantastic. They look, very similar to the arcade. I really think that they did a great job with that, bringing it home for everybody. The reasons that it failed, there's lots of reasons. I'm assuming, software, against Sega, like to be exclusive, and sports games were a big thing. A lot of the sports games that came out for this just didn't get the good reviews, and those aren't, and the PS2, you got to remember, this was before the PS2. The PS2 was really like the system that made like gaming cool for everybody, like that's when, rappers were putting them in Escalades and shit. That's when the PS2 came out. Before that, video game consoles and everything were still kind of, for geeks, for us, people like us. So this wasn't multimedia. It wasn't playing, DVDs or anything like that. It was solely a game console, and in a way, it's like the last of the game consoles. The GameCube is a lot like that in that respect, but also, like to me, this just really was like, it was gonna be the home arcade and everything. It was like that last like push of the old school consoles, and I really dig that about it. And just to take a quick look, I'm gonna keep focusing on the same thing. I don't make this too boring here, but yeah, I mean, out of the box, it's real clean. Has an onboard power source, so you just put in a standard plug there. AV out uses a specific, to Sega AV out, and a little serial port, and then there's your modem line. I mean, yeah, you think of this now like, oh god, you had to plug it into a wall, but I mean, back then that's all we had. There wasn't the Wi-Fi or anything like that. So really cool system, really sleek design, still looks good, and I can't wait to get more games for it. I don't know if I'm going to be taking this with me in the move, so I don't know if I'm going to be doing more game views on this particular system for a while, and which would be unfortunate, I know, but you got to remember, just bear with me, guys, for the next few months. I'm going to be in a tiny room, so I'm only going to take the necessities there, but definitely felt like this deserved to get to show this off, and just talk briefly about it. And again, I don't know a lot about it, and correct me if I'm wrong on anything that I have said, but anyway, real quick, as always, I like to show off like controllers or something, so here we go. First off, before I show off the controller, I'm going to show off something that I think is really cool, and I wish there was something similar to this now even, and that was the little VMU units. You plug this in, and it had a little display right there on the controller, and you had game stats, everything could be saved there, you could take it out, and like, I don't know, I guess they had it like, there's probably like those Pokemon-inspired games and stuff where you kind of level up your characters on the go or swap it out, and I'm sure in Japan there's probably kiosk and things. I mean, they're real big into that over there. Really cool feature, though, man. I'd like to see something like that, in controllers. And then we'll get on to the controller. Like, about another minute left here. So, the controller, yeah, N64 kind of set the standard, and this is definitely a really comfortable controller to hold, although it's very plasticky. Very plasticky. Like, doesn't feel, very sturdy at all. But the buttons, are pretty responsive and everything, and there's a little slot for the VMUs, which also, doubled as the memory cards. The only thing I hate about the controller is the thing that everybody hates about the controller, putting the cord at the bottom, which it serves no purpose other than a very bizarre attempt on Sega's part to be different. It serves no function, though. It does not improve gameplay or anything. It's dumb. You're always kind of pulling, up on it. It makes no sense. Like, there we go. If you're a lefty, this is a dream controller. But for the rest of us, yeah. So anyway, guys, that is the Sega Dreamcast. Post questions, comments, and let me know what you think. Later.